Is it really a Nick Kyrgios match if he doesn't have a fiery outburst with the referee, spectators, or his own player box? We mean there's a reason why so many people have grown to dislike him, despite his astounding talent. The world number 28 often lands himself in trouble by losing his cool on the courts. After his recent altercation with an allegedly drunk spectator during the Wimbledon final, the Aussie is being sued. Here are the details. First up, Nick's obnoxious behavior at the Wimbledon final. As you may or may not remember, earlier in July, the 27-year-old tennis star competed in his first Grand Slam final at Wimbledon. Kyrgios was off to a good start in the July 11th match, but things started to go downhill when he lost 5 consecutive points from 40 love on his serve and went on to lose the third set. As expected, Nick was really feeling the pressure, and he wasn't great at hiding it. He first projected his frustration onto a spectator whom he blamed for disrupting his concentration by shouting between his serves. He requested the chair umpire, Renaud Lichtenstein, for a first serve after he hit a double fault, saying it's a joke. And then during the second set, he started attacking his next target, a middle-aged female spectator, whom he said looked like she had had about 700 drinks, bro. He even called her a drunken woman. What a gentleman. The audience then watched Nick have a meltdown as he marched off to the umpire and demanded to have the fan in the dress removed from the center court as she kept speaking to him and was apparently costing him the game. If you ask us, it sounds like someone was trying his best to shift the blame for his mistakes on anyone but himself. We mean it's cute when a 10-year-old does it, but grown man Nick just looked ridiculous. But that's not all the drama he caused. As the match continued to turn more and more in Djokovic's favor, Nick constantly lashed out at his own player box for their apparent lack of support. Like most of his explosions, this wasn't a comfortable sight for the viewers to watch, and many called him out for it later on. Now, had this been just another regular tennis match, maybe his distasteful behavior could have been overlooked. But this was no average game, and it had no average spectators. This year's Wimbledon was graced by British royalty, with Prince William and Kate Middleton's son, Prince George, among those watching the match unfold. As you can guess, nobody appreciated the Aussie giving the 9-year-old a front row lesson in industrial language. As a result of his obscene behavior in front of the young prince, Nick was penalized with a $4,000 fine. As much as we'd like to say this was his first fine of the tournament, it wasn't. In fact, the sportsman managed to rack up a number of fines throughout his time at Wimbledon, with his initial fine of $14,469.95 coming after his first round match against Paul Jubb, where he was caught spitting towards a spectator. A second fine was then handed out in his third round match with Stefanos Tsitsipas after ordering for a new referee and asserting his opponent should be disqualified. Nick, oh Nick, when will you learn? But all profanities aside, Kyrgios played exceptionally well, but still came up short and was unable to defeat Djokovic, who claimed his 21st Grand Slam title. Next, what else did he have to say about the drunk woman? In a post-match press conference, the runner-up of the championships was frequently seen trying to hide under his red cap, though as upset as he was after the defeat. Kyrgios confessed that the loss had been a blessing in disguise and motivated him to keep competing. During the conversation, one of the reporters brought up the woman he had pointed out for being too drunk, asking the 27-year-old if he felt she had cost him the game, to which Nick responded with a no, but said that he still didn't appreciate the woman constantly talking to him. He humorously added that he's all for having fun and knows what it's like to have a little too much to drink, but her behavior was unacceptable, considering it was one of the biggest games of his life. Kyrgios then talked about his complaint to the umpire, who had not realized she was drunk until Nick brought it up. He said that at this point, he expected her to either be given water or be taken out. After the runner-up's thoughts on the matter, the interviewer revealed what he believed Nick would find interesting, telling him that the woman had actually only had 2 drinks and was a supporter for Nick from the very beginning. The Aussie, who found it absurd that he was trying to be guilt-tripped, instantly hit back by saying, none of this still makes what she did okay. And well, he kinda has a point. And it looks like the so-called drunk fan didn't appreciate the slander. Oops, looks like Nick has ruffled the wrong feathers, and it's about to cost him, literally. The now infamous Wimbledon spectator, who Nick Kyrgios claimed was drunk out of her mind, has been identified as 32-year-old Anna Palus. And turns out she's not just a tennis fan, but also a Polish lawyer who's ready to take some legal action. Yikes! weeks. Palus, who attended the game with her mother, explained that this was an event that she had been looking forward to for quite a long time. She further stated that Kyrgios' assertions about her being too drunk had been completely baseless and reckless. The middle-aged fan clearly didn't appreciate the character assassination and also didn't like that she was ejected from center court over the false claims. And though she was allowed to return to the match after a 15-minute spell outside, she still had to endure the humiliation. Anya has since defended herself and denied all accusations thrown her way during the highly anticipated final. In an interview, she explained her side of things, expressing that her heart was in the right place and she was only trying to show her support and encouragement for the Australian sensation. The lady did, however, admit that maybe to some extent it was her fault too for taking things too far, but her intentions had always been pure. She's even apologized, saying, "I'm really sorry," but just because she's sorry doesn't mean she's about to let the disrespect slide. Consequently, Anna Palus is now suing the Wimbledon runner-up. While we understand where Nick was coming from, since the female spectator was being a little annoying, there's a way to go about things, and asking an umpire to kick a fan out and accusing her of having 700 drinks isn't the way to do it. According to the Polish lawyer, the Wimbledon finals outburst has caused her considerable harm, and she's now trying to make Nick feel sorry for what he did by filing a defamation case against him. She elaborated on how it made her life difficult, not only on the day of the match when she was degraded by being removed from the area, but rather most of the damage came post-match, as millions of people from around the globe watched and read the allegations. This not only subjected her to public scrutiny and made her vulnerable to public backlash, but was also an equally distressing experience for her family. She also added that although she's not a litigious person, she had no choice but to ask her solicitors to bring defamation proceedings against Mr. Kyrgios in order to clear her name. The kind Polish also claimed that any damages that are recovered will go straight to charity. In the meantime, she hopes that Nick will have the decency to reflect on what he's done and figure out a way to make up for it. If he doesn't comply, well, then she'll be taking the case to the High Court. Lastly, this isn't the only lawsuit the 24-year-old is facing. Most of you will be shocked to know that this isn't the first lawsuit against the Can Baron. In fact, Kyrgios is presently dealing with another legal issue, and it's much more than just a defamation case. As appalling as this might sound, the world number 28 is facing assault charges in Australia over accusations from ex-girlfriend Chiara Passari from an incident that allegedly took place in December 2021, the maximum sentence for which is 2 years. Didn't see that coming? Neither did we, and we have to admit, we're disappointed. Anyone who's watched the Australian player's angry antics during games knows the man has some issues he needs to deal with. But assault? That's a bit too far even for him. According to Kyrgios' lawyer, Jason Moffat, the nature of the allegation is serious, and it's being dealt with as such. But the athlete will not be giving any comments until the time is right. After a Canberra magistrate rejected the appeal for a months-long delay, Kyrgios failed to appear for the initial hearing. During brief proceedings, his lawyer then pushed for a 3-month adjournment of the case for some unknown reasons. And although Magistrate Louise Taylor denied the appeal, she instead remanded the case to October 4th. Sounds like a messy solution, so let's wait and see how things go from here. That's a wrap for this video. Do you think Anna Palus should have filed a lawsuit against Nick? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.